was sent this meter and looked at it, was interested in doing something with it, called them back and said, yeah, go ahead and send it to me. It's a TESMEN meter. These are fairly inexpensive meters. You can get them on Amazon. There'll be a link in the description. But the reason I grabbed this one, they sent me another one early. I did a video on it. It seemed to work pretty well, but this one's geared towards HVAC. It's going to be the Smart Digital Clamp Meter, the TCM-300D right there. This has everything that you're going to need for an HVAC meter. Full screen display. It's auto, or you can set where you want it to be. I'm going to do a quick breakdown on it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that part of it. Then we're going to put this thing to work. I'm going to compare it against a couple of other meters and see how the accuracy is, how quickly it responds, things like that, how it works. But very nice meter, AC, DC, volts, and amps, diodes, capacitors, temperature. Does inrush. If you need to check a compressor, it's got that function, non-contact voltage, all the basic things that you're going to find out of the standard HVAC meter that we all use. But it comes in this box. There's a book inside. I'm not going to go through the book. If you get one, you can read that. It's pretty easy to operate. If you've been using the other meters, it's going to be pretty standard. But there is one little glitch in it. Not necessarily a glitch, just something that's a little annoying. But anyway, this is the breakdown on it. Does your amps, AC, DC, volts, AC, DC, ohms, continuity, diodes, hertz, temperature, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Comes with a thermocouple in the box as well for that. 3 AAA batteries is what it uses. Check your capacitors and non-contact voltage, inrush. You've got your selection and inrush down here, what function you're going to use, auto or select, and your maximum minimum. Plug the leads down in the bottom. I typically like a meter. You plug in the front, just makes it a lot easier because these things sit flatter, so when you go to roll your leads up, these aren't necessarily sticking out like that. But anyway, let's get it turned on. See what the display looks like right there. You'll see calibration for a couple of minutes. But you see it auto ranges, and we'll go through that when I go do the comparisons on it. You got your select function, inrush. So to do the inrush, you'll set the function to amps, and then you'll push this button real quick. 0. Go through that. So as you can see, it'll let you go through and select individual options of functions that you want to use, or you can just let it auto range and it'll detect what you're doing, try to figure out what you're doing, give you the reading you need. But we'll go to amps real quick. We're going to select AC, amps, and then hit the button again. You see it says inrush there. We'll test that, but it will allow you to check inrush on a compressor or a motor when it starts, things like that. And we'll come back out of that, and then pretty simple. I mean, you just select your button until you get to what you want. Some meters have a dial. This one just has a button. Minimum, max, things like that. It's pretty comparable in feel to any other meter. They're basically all made out of plastic, so it's fairly compact and small. It's not huge. But I think for an incoming technician, if this thing checks accurate when we go do the tests on it, trying to save a little money getting started. Nobody's, not everybody has $270, $80, $300 for a fluke meter, $260, $70 for top-end field piece meters. They have some lower tier versions, but they don't do everything. This one has all the functions that you're going to need in one of those meters. That comes in at about $50. I'll put a link, like I said, down in the description. It also has a light. If you hold that button right there, there's a little light right there on the end. Turn it back off. Your power button. 3 AAA batteries in the back. Doesn't have a magnet on the back. You could crazy glue nice strong magnet on the back of this, and I think it'll work fine. I did that with my fluke because they don't as well. Got your clamp, pretty tight spring in there. I mean, it feels durable as long as it's reliable. When we check it, responds fairly quickly to what we're asking it to do. Has an auto off. You can turn that on or off. The thing I am kind of annoyed with is it always displays the temperature right there, even if you're not setting it over here for temperatures, and it always reads in Celsius, and there's no way to get that off the screen that I know of. Didn't find it in the book. Just something you have to overlook, I guess. Just, it is what it is. But for whatever reason, it always reads a temperature there, even though you don't have your thermocouple plugged in, and it's always in Celsius. Now, if you want to go over here and check temperature, I'll scroll over here to that. Now it gives you Fahrenheit and Celsius. It gives you both readings. But I don't understand why in all the other functions it's always displaying your temperature at the top of the screen right there. It's just a little annoying. Alright, we're going to do some testing on this thing real quick. Find out the accuracy as compared to some of these other meters. Yes, these are the meters that I use primarily. I do have the UEI Phoenix. I think it's the 386 in another bag. That's been a good meter. Those are very kind of inexpensive as well. They're still in the $160 to $80 range, but this being in the $50 range for a guy just getting into heating and air, something he can at least get to work with, put a little money away, get something better. This may be a good option, but we'll see how accurate it is. Alright, so I've got one of my fluke adapters. Keep that little cover over so they don't get bent. Let's see if they'll snap on there. No, they will not. They will not fit. So I don't know if you can find a needle probe. Oh, hold on. Oh, it did. It went in there. I just didn't get it in the right spot. So, get it back in there. Now let's check real quick to see if we have continuity through it. Yes, we do. So, I'll put a link to these in the description. These are not the Fluke brand. They are, call them knockoffs. You can get a 4-pack of these, 2 red, 2 black, for like $14 on Amazon. I'll put those in the description. That's what I use with some of my other leads that are Fluke leads, because Fluke will charge you $50 for one set. That's the difference when you get between something like this and starting out with something like this. You can get in there inexpensively and get started and then upgrade as you go along. But these do work. With that said, the leads are interchangeable. So if you have field piece leads where the tips slide off and then you can put your needle probes on, I have checked that. These leads are interchangeable. These are UEI leads that I keep on this particular meter for whatever reason. Can't remember. There was a reason why I did it. But anyway, these work as well. So field piece leads, the Fluke leads will plug in the same way. So leads are interchangeable if you want to change them, but the ones that come with it do work just fine. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to do is check capacitors with this thing, see how accurate they read a capacitor. A lot of the benefits of these two is it's pretty much an almost instantaneous reading, not much of a delay. People get addicted to that. Oh, I like that. As soon as I touch it, within, you know, a quarter second, it's showing me what it is. This one is probably going to have about a 2-second delay on it, I'm imagining. Who doesn't have 2 seconds in life, right? We're at that stage in our society where it's got to be right now. Can't wait. I can wait 2 seconds if it saves me $250 on a meter. But anyway, we're going to start with a capacitor. This is a Titan HD. That's what I keep at home anyway, not where I work. But we're going to try this one out real quick, and actually let's see what the others do. So we're going to do the field piece first. And check the compressor, and almost instantaneously it tells me 40.4. Do the fluke next, and this is the field piece SC480, and this is going to be the fluke 324 plus. .2 instantaneously. So let's see what this one does. I've got it set for capacitors, and about 3 seconds, 40.27. So 3 seconds isn't a long time if you're trying to work on a budget when you get started. Don't be concerned about that. So anyway, 40.4, 40.2, 40.27. So it definitely does that accurately. So now let's ohm out a contactor real quick. And I'm just trying to do some of the things that are going to be basic most of the time on the job things. So we're going to check a contactor. We got a blowing fuse in the air handler. Every time the thermostat calls, as soon as it calls for Y, your fuse blows. So we're going to ohm the contactor out and see if that's the source of our short. So the fluke is giving us, oh, let me set it for ohms, that makes a difference, 13.1. And this one also does continuity simultaneously. Let's do the field piece. Let's go down here and go back to ohms. 13.3. So pretty much about the same as the fluke. A little bit slower than the fluke, but reading the same. Now I'm going to go over here, and our select button, our function button, we can go to ohms. Hold it straight. Hold on. See, yeah, that's the guy shooting too. These tips are a little aggravating because they slip, they don't stay on there firm. .3. So far it's reading accurately. Let's check a solenoid for a reversing valve. We'll start with this one first. 17.8 with the TESMEN. And we are at 17.7 with the field piece. And 17.6 with the fluke. So they're almost all reading exactly the same. This one just takes a couple of extra seconds before it registers. Not a big deal. So let's go check a live piece of equipment and check our voltage and our amps. Try out that inrush function. Another function I wanted to go over real quick was the temperature. The thermocouple this thing comes with is kind of separate plugs for your black and your red. I'm not really a fond of that. I typically don't use my meters for checking temperature anyway. I have other things I use for that are more accurate. But you can show this one, these are sitting pretty close to each other. This one's showing 80. Field piece is showing 75. Now let's see how quickly it responds when I touch it. Okay, it goes up to 88 and then takes a little while for it to settle back down. Probably not very accurate when it comes to checking temperature. It is 5 degrees different. This one, when I touch it, goes up to 88, 90, but it goes back down pretty quickly, so it has a quicker response. I don't know if you could get the field piece or the fluke adapter to go in here and use a regular thermocouple. Maybe that's the difference, but like I said, I typically don't use my meters for checking temperature. Alright guys, let's check a few things with this. Number one, we are going to check our non-contact voltage. So you just go down, go through your selection till you get to where it says NCU at the bottom, non-contact voltage. Disregard the Celsius temperature reading because it's always going to be there. So it does detect voltage. How far away? So I'm about 2 inches away from that contactor. So it does do a good job. Now checking this wire directly. Let's check our, so it's sensitive. You get somewhat close in here and it picks it up pretty quickly. So let's see how it does with the voltage. We're going to go over here, we're going to set it in auto range. This voltage is one of those that it does recognize for that. And we are reading 245.1. Let's compare that to our fluke. $244.7.8. Pretty close. So now let's check this amp draw accuracy, and we're going to start with our inrush function. I'm going to turn this on and see what happens. So we're going to set this to amps. We're going to set it for inrush, and then we're going to get around our common for our compressor, and then I'm going to turn this thing on real quick through my app. Give me an inrush of 85. So I'm going to turn it back off. So it showed an inrush of 85. So let's go see what the field piece does. Alright guys, this unit's been off for about 10 minutes, which it wasn't running when I originally turned it on to check that inrush. Refrigerant pressures have stabilized, obviously. So now we're going to check the inrush again, but we are going to use the field piece. And let's turn it back on and see what type of inrush that we get this time. Set the temperature down. Huh. So it is fairly accurate. Close. 88. So let's check our operating amp comparison. We had 85 on this, 88 on the field piece. This compressor is Put a new capacitor in this not long ago. But this compressor, I mean, this unit's 15 years old. So it may be getting close. Maybe getting time for me to start looking ahead at replacing my unit. I can tell you it won't be one of them damn XVs though. I can promise you that. So let's see what our operating amps are. So we're getting 8.4 operating amps on the field piece. Right there, 8.2. Let's see what this gives us. And I may need to take it out of the inrush function. We'll just turn it off, turn it back on. And it's giving me 8.4. So 8.4. Right now, on both of them, as I look at them, that one's 8.3. It depends on the angle where this wire is, so I'm getting 8.6 right there with the wire centered in the middle of my clamp on the field piece, and I'm getting 8.5 on this one right there, 8.48. Pretty accurate with the amps. We'll see how it does with low voltage real quick. .9 right there. Let's see what this one gives us on our voltage. I'm gonna leave it in auto. .0. Alright guys, so you see me put this meter head to head with the meters that most all of us use on a daily basis. Will I still continue to use these? Yes. Not because it reads a capacitor 2 seconds faster or immediately as soon as I stick the thing to it, because I spent a lot of money on these. And that's where you get to later down the road. You get more money, you can get higher end products, things like that. For around the house or somebody just getting started in heating and air, I have no problem telling you to go ahead and buy one of these. Not too sure I would care too much about its ability to read temperature accurately. I don't use any of my meters for that. I use temperature clamps, pipe clamps, other devices if I'm checking that. To get a general idea maybe, but usually I don't. I'm not going to pay $50 for the adapter that goes to this one, so all my temperature clamps can fit to it. And I really don't care about wiring, rolling out a long thermocouple wire and taking a piece of electrical tape and taping it to a clamp. I just don't work like that. I use special tools for that are designed for that. So for the money, $50, it's 40 or 50. I think it's closer to 50 for a meter that's going to give you accurate voltage readings, accurate amp draw. Is going to be able to check hertz. We didn't do that, but it does do that. Check inrush, test capacitors, check continuity. You saw that when I put the leads together. It does check continuity if you need to look for a broken wire or something like that. Ohms, volts, amps, capacitors, continuity. Non-contact voltage, it does detect if there's voltage present. For what it is, if you're just getting started and you're on a budget, you don't come from a family, big house, got plenty of money to put into your you're getting started in heating and air conditioning, you're kind of on your own getting that stuff together. This is it's a compact meter. It's small, fits in pretty much any tool bag very easily. By comparison, it's a little shorter than this Fluke is, by probably about 3/4 of an inch. It's obviously shorter than the field piece. Narrower, actually. About the same as the Fluke. This Fluke is typically going to cost you 25–30% more than the field piece, and this field piece meter is usually going to be in that $250+ range. They do have $150–160 meters, but you're losing a lot of the functions that this one comes with. So for basic troubleshooting, doing maintenance, is getting started in heating and air, you need a quick meter, inexpensive, going to get you going in the right direction. Be able to test voltage, look for shorts, check continuity, check amps, test capacitors. Those are your basic functions, and this will get you in the right direction. And if you take care of it, we'll see how long it lasts, how frequently I'm going to use it. I'm going to put it in the truck and grab it from time to time. May give away this thing, may do a giveaway on it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 meters. I don't need 6 meters. So probably going to do a giveaway in the fall for this one. I'm going to use it a little bit. I don't want to give away something unless I know I can use it decently and it perform everywhere, every time I use it. So we'll test it out in the field a little bit. But may do a giveaway on this. Probably also going to give a thermal imager away in the fall. Probably I've gotten what, 3 or 4 of those that I've done reviews on, and I don't need 4. I've narrowed it down to the 2 that I want to keep. So I'm probably also going to do a giveaway on a thermal imager sometime in the fall as well, and start getting rid of some of this stuff. And for the viewers, comments, we'll do the giveaway videos separately, but just a little show of appreciation for the guys that watch and subscribe and tune in. So anyway, the TESMEN TCM-300D. I think it's reliable, good entry-level meter. Does all the things you'll need to do getting started in heating and air with just doing a PM check or basic troubleshooting. And honestly, don't think this would be a bad purchase for you. It doesn't feel cheap, doesn't work cheap, and the 2-second delay in checking a capacitor, oh my God, who cares about that? Anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the other side.